really struggle with is what does it mean to really engage people at the community level? You know, in our country, there's, you know, legally it's required at the end of a planning process to have a legal hearing. But not all communities have adopted this really open process. So I'd be curious if you had some reactions to the recommendations to get community people in the villages participating in thinking about their future. So anybody? Bernard, sure.
Yes. Well, in Ghana, the communities are such that we have, you know, a structure, you know, a community level.
Structure, yeah.
Yes. For you to be able to enter a community and have, you know, get some information, then we have the structure goes with the chief. You have the chief, okay? The chief have elders, you know, subsections, okay? Then you have the honorable assemblyman.
Okay. And you should use that in assembly.
Yes.
All right.
You have the honorable assemblyman. The honorable assemblyman.
An honorable assemblyman.
Yes. Okay. Then you have the unit committees. So that is the structure at the community level. Okay. So if you are going there, you are entering the community, first of all you get to the village, or you get to the community, you've got to ask for, first of all, the assemblyman. Then you see the assemblyman, you know, you greet usual greetings, that's culture. And then you tell him of your message. Then he will take you to the chief palace, right? And then you meet the chief and relay the message. Okay. Then if it is that you want to meet the whole community, the chief will give you a day. Okay. The chief will give you a day. That, okay, tomorrow or tomorrow next, and come back. Then in the evening of that day, then they will give an announcement, a local announcement. You know, they will beat some drums, okay, that we are expecting special, you know, visitors. So everybody should be at either the chief palace or the nearby primary school or the DSS school. The following day, when they give time, in fact, the problem has to do with time. Okay, in Ghana, if you say 8 o'clock, then you should expect that
Yeah.
you should be able to add an hour. At least. Yeah, okay, that's a fact. Okay, so then you will meet them. Then the chief will introduce, you know, the visitors to the people, and give you the go ahead to do that.
And would you, when you deliver your message, would anybody feel free talking, speaking out?
Yes.
Anybody would feel free?
Yes, anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
And they could speak about things that they liked and things they didn't.
Is there I guess discontent or content with any project that's going on? Is it documented or anything like that, or how is it accounted for? Or is there any like respect given to what their opinion is, or how is it accounted for basically?
I think, if I could, two questions. One, if you have this conversation, does it get documented? Does somebody write it down or record it?
Yes.
And two, are they listened to? Do people take what they have to say, or are they just giving them a chance to just sort of talk? Do they record it, or do they really listen?
Well, you will have, in fact, in that meeting, you have the chief has a secretary.
No.
The assemblyman is also an illiterate. Okay, he can also read and write. Then the unit committees also have a secretary.
Okay.
So you will at least have one of them there. The chief secretary must either be there. The assemblyman, after the assemblyman, he must just be there. Yeah, because the assemblyman is for development. So he must just be there. So you will have somebody taking down notes.
Okay.
Okay. The second question.
Do they listen?
Oh, they do. They do listen. They will listen and even ask you questions. And they will tell you of their problems. They will tell you. Yes.
Now, was there any?
Yeah, I just want to ask something. Just as one of the slides was mentioned something about traditional leaders and government agencies, about they work hand in hand. The traditional leaders in the town and government agencies, they work hand in hand. But the chief is also the most revered personality in the city, in the town. That's right. So anything that is going on in the town and the chief is involved, the citizens know that whatever is going to take place is very, very important. So they take keen attention to whatever is being told. So during the gathering, everybody compels him or herself to listen to whatever is being told. Yeah. So before anything like that, so like creation of a district like that, before it can go on successfully, those two bodies have to work hand in hand. Like the assemblymen, the coordinators, and the chief. They have to work hand in hand to promote everything.
You have questions for the students?
Yeah, I have a quick question, I guess. How are you able to figure out about the perception of planning being tainted?
Well, we talked to Kojo, who asked a few questions about it, what people's perspective was about the planning process, and he responded to us about it. But it seems like that kind of really addresses like their perception of the government not really working for them, and so I guess what they really want is basically a functional government that yields results. So, and that hasn't been really consistent throughout their history there. So,
I remember Kojo saying specifically that they have 5 positions open in their planning office that are filled by only 3 draftsmen right now. And they're having a really hard time attracting planners and, establishing a true purpose for planning and being a planner in districts like that. In a very rural district, it's very hard to attract and retain a planner there. And, as I mentioned before as well, with the Ghana Institute of Planners, they have 270 members. And, trying to pull a member from those 270 is probably going to be a little bit tough. So it seems like the profession's overlooked and maybe not respected just because it's overlooked so much. And there's just not so many, there's not a strong voice for it.
Because I'm a little confused, to have people kind of mistrust the planning process, but then trust the chief and the elders, but then having a distrust of government. How does that?
well, it's kind of like a divide though between the traditional system and then the formal government system. So that's what we kind of learned throughout doing this research process. So the paramount chief, as we spoke about earlier, has a lot of pull and authority there. So it's kind of like a disconnect between the formal governments and then the traditional government system.
Other questions? So we just had Samson join us, and Samson came to the class. So those of you who were in the class before, Samson and Nana came to meet us. So we're glad you could make it. I know it's not easy to get to this place, but we're glad you're here. Samson, the students just made a presentation, and David just gave you a presentation. It tries to organize their ideas about how you might approach planning in developing countries, specifically in Ghana, and specifically in the Offinso North district. And so we've got some other guests here you haven't met before. Bernard, who's here for about 18 months in the country,